Hello and good morning. Welcome back. Make sure your phone is on the wall from now on with the screen facing me, and they must be off. Okay? Screen to me, facing off. All right, so look at your notes. If you had to, discuss with your neighbor the rules for divisibility. Well, divisibility by 2 is if it ends, the number ends with a 0, 2, 4, 6, or an 8. 3 is if the sum of the digits is divisible by 3. 5 is if it ends with a 0 or a 5. 9 is the sum divisible by 9. And 10 is if it ends with a 0, and that's it. Okay, so what is a prime number? A prime number is a number whose only factors are 1 in itself. 1 times itself. For example, 7 is only 1 times 7. A composite number has more than that. It's like 8. 8 is 1 times 8, but it's also 2 times 4. So that becomes a composite. This one is prime. This one is composite. All right, look here. Copy this down. I want you to go ahead and copy down. There's 3 charts on that page. Copy them down. And then if you're finished early, try to memorize these. Let's take a look at this one. 18 inches is equal to how many feet? Copy that down. We're going to write it as a proportion. Okay, well, there's 12 inches in 1 foot. Okay, so what we're going to do is cross multiply. When we do that, we're going to get 1 times 18 is 18, and x times 12 is 12x. We're going to divide by 12, and we're going to get the answer. So 6 goes into this 3 times, 6 goes into this 2 times. So it's 3 over 2 feet, which equals 2 goes into 3 one time with half left over. So it's 1 1/2 feet. And there's your answer. Make sure you know how to do that. We're going to write it as a proportion. Notice that I have inches over feet, and you have to be consistent. You can't say inches over feet and then feet over inches. That will not work. Let's try another one. 3.5 tons is how many pounds? Okay, well, we might have to look at the chart on this one. So let's take a look at the chart. Open up your book, if you haven't already done so, to page 356. Well, there's 2,000 pounds in a ton. So you're going to say this is 3.5. So 3.5 tons equals how many pounds? Copy that down. Well, 1 ton is equal to 2,000 pounds. And now you cross multiply. So get your calculator out. I have some up here you can borrow. So you're going to get x times 1, which is going to be just x. And so it's going to be 3.5 times 2, so it's going to be 7,000 pounds. And you can check that out on your calculator. Okay? One more. Copy that one down. 42 cups equals how many quarts? Well, we got to know how many cups make up a quart. So we're going to look at the conversion table. And it says right here that 2 pints equal 1 quart. So 2 pints equals 1 quart, but 1 pint is equal to 2 cups. So here you got 2 pints, and each pint is worth 2 cups. So that's 4 cups is 1 quart. So write that down. 4 cups equals 1 quart. So you're going to say 4 cups is equal to 1 quart. And then you're going to cross multiply. So this is going to be 4 times x is 4x, and then 1 times 42 is just 42, and then you're going to divide by 4. Get your calculator, and whatever you get is your answer. Today you have this work, 1 through 12, copy them down. We're going to watch a video on the metric system. All right, let's move on now to college algebra. Okay, you had some rules that you had to memorize here for absolute value. Okay, before we get started, phones from now on, screen facing me, and they must be off. Okay, so turn them around if you have to and make sure they're off. No exceptions on that. Okay, there's 3 rules. 1, the absolute value of x is equal to 0. 1 is the absolute value of x is less than 0. And the other one is the absolute value of x is greater than, and we need to change that 0 to a number, so I'm going to put a 5. We don't want 0. So we'll just make up a number there and put a 5. Okay, so for the first one, x is going to be equal to 5 or x is going to be equal to a negative 5. That's number 1. Number 2, it's the squeeze, it's the sandwich, so x is in between a 5 and a negative 5. That's number 2. And then finally, number 3, it's pointing away, so x is going to be greater than 5, the same thing, or x is going to be less than a negative 5. So it's the same and opposite. So this one is same, opposite, same, opposite. This one is the sandwich. And that's how you're going to memorize it. And there it is. So let's take a look at these. This one right here is squeezed in between, so this is the sandwich. X plus 1 is going to be less than or equal to 6 and negative 6, and then you got to work this out by subtracting 1. When you subtract 1, you get a negative 7, and then you get this right here. So it's in between negative 7 equal to all the way up to 5 equal to. There it is. Any questions on that? All right, the next one is same and opposite. So number 2 is going to be the same thing and then the opposite. And this should just be 5. Okay, so same and opposite. So here you got to switch this and put a negative 3. Okay, same thing and then opposite. And then you got to work this out. So you got to subtract 5 and divide by 6, subtract 5 and divide by 6. And there it is. Okay, let's talk about today's work. Get your graphing calculator. Come borrow mine if you have to. Start them up and graph these 2 functions. Okay, we'll do this together in class. Let's go here now to the standard form of an equation. And copy that down right there, and then we're going to watch a video. All right, so let's take a look at this first one here. So copy this down. So put number 1, and this is chapter 3.1. This is new. And here we go. So you're going to say y is equal to 2x squared plus 8x plus 7. And then right here, from these 2, you're going to factor out a 2 because they both have a 2. So you're going to get 2 times x squared plus 4x plus 7. Now, you take half, you're going to do completing the square. So it's half of that squared. So half of 4 is 2, and 2 squared is 4. So what you're going to do here, you're going to add 4, but you have to also subtract 4 to not change it. Okay? That's still 0, like it wasn't even there. But 2 times that negative 4 becomes a negative 8. So what you have here is this. You're going to have 2 times, we're going to move that negative 8 to the outside. So it's going to be plus 7 and then minus 8. Now, I know that seems weird, but that's right. This right here is a perfect square trinomial, so that's going to be x plus 2 quantity squared. And so your standard form is going to look like this. And there it is. And that's standard form. And that looks just like this one up here. There it is. Let's try one. Try this one right here. Copy that down. Okay, so to try this one, remember what you're going to do. You're going to factor out a 3 here. So you're going to get 3, and it's going to be x squared minus 2x, and then plus 4. The 4 is on the outside. You're going to take half of this middle term. Well, half of 2 is 1, and 1 squared is still 1. So now what you're going to do is add 1 and subtract 1. So it's going to be 3 x squared minus 2x plus 1 and minus 1. You really want this to cancel each other out. Now what you're going to do is multiply that 3 here. That's going to give you a negative 3 on the outside here. So what you're going to have is this right here, and then you're going to move the negative 3 outside like that. This is going to become a plus 1. This is going to be a perfect square trinomial, so it's going to be x minus 1 quantity squared, and that is the standard form. That's how you do it. I know it looks weird, but again, so do some of us, right? All right, let's try one more. Copy this one down. This will be the last one I do, and then I'm going to give you some more. All right, so on this one right here, what would I do? I would factor out a negative here, since this first one is a negative. So I'm going to get negative times x squared minus 6x, like that. Okay? Then I'm going to take half of this, which is 3, and 3 squared is 9. So I'm going to do a plus 9 and a minus 9. So I'm going to have negative x squared minus 6x plus 9 and minus 9, and then minus 8, like that. Okay? So you got the plus 9 and the minus 9. Now you want to move this one to the outside. So a negative times a negative is going to become a plus 9. So out here you're going to have a negative 8 plus 9. But right here in the middle is a perfect square trinomial. So that's going to be x squared minus 6x plus 9 with a negative on the outside. So now this becomes x minus 3 quantity squared plus 1, and there it is, and that's how you do that. Today's work is right here. Have a good morning.